Bonjour à toutes et à tous et merci de nous joindre en présence physique dans la salle de presse de la Commission européenne. Merci également de nous suivre en direct en ligne et sur Europe by Satellite. Nous sommes le jeudi 11 novembre. Et j'aimerais féliciter nos amis et nos collègues polonais pour leur fête nationale. Let me start by giving you an update regarding the crisis situation created by the Belarusian regime at the Belarus-Polish border. Vice President Margaritis Skinas has started today his outreach to countries of origin and of transit of the people being instrumentalized and trapped at the border. He is currently in the United Arab Emirates, where he will meet the diplomatic advisor to the president, as well as the Minister of International Cooperation. Tomorrow, Vice President Skinas will be in Lebanon. His agenda there will be announced at a later point as details come. More destinations of his outreach trip will be announced in the coming days. As we expand our work with partners in the region to avoid that more migrants are being trapped and fall victim to the traps set by the Belarusian regime. Furthermore, President von der Leyen and HRVP Borrell talked yesterday with the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Filippo Grandi. Following those contacts, we repeat our calls for humanitarian organizations to have access to people at the border region in order to provide assistance. And we continue to explore with the UN and specialized agencies how to ensure that people can safely return to their countries of origin. Also this morning, Commissioner Johansson spoke on the phone to the Minister of Interior of Lithuania, Anie Bilotaite. They took stock of the general situation, and the Commissioner assured the Minister of the EU's full support to Lithuania. The Minister updated on the situation at the Lithuanian border and the humanitarian support being provided there. Additionally, we can now confirm that following a request by the Polish authorities, experts from Europol's Migrant Smuggling Center will assist Poland in addressing this situation created at the border. Et puis, j'ai aujourd'hui une mise à jour dans l'agenda de la présidente von der Leyen. La présidente est toujours en déplacement à Washington, D.C. Cet après-midi, elle s'adressera par vidéoconférence au Forum de Paris sur la paix. Et plus tard, aujourd'hui, elle rencontrera les chefs des missions diplomatiques des États membres aux États-Unis. Then, regarding today's council meetings, let me remind you that trade ministers are meeting today. Executive Vice President Valdis Dombrovskis represents the Commission. The ministers will discuss World Trade Organization reform and EU-US trade relations. On this topic, ministers will hold an informal exchange with US Trade Representative Catherine Tai. Also on the agenda is the recent Commission report on trade enforcement, as well as trade and sustainable development provisions in our trade agreements and trade negotiations. A press conference is foreseen to take place today at about 16:45, and the Executive Vice President will participate representing the Commission. So I will kindly invite you to keep trade-related questions related to the matters on the agenda for him for this press conference. And before opening the floor to your questions today, allow me to remind you that we will have a technical briefing of the record on the autumn economic forecast that Commissioner Gentiloni just presented to you a few minutes ago. So we will have to close this midday briefing at 1 o'clock when the technical briefing will start. That's all for my announcements, and now over to you for any questions. So please raise your hand physically and in the system if you have questions. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Dana. I want to ask you that why Mr. Sheenas have decided to visit the two Arab countries, as you mentioned, UAE and Lebanon, to discuss this issue of migrants in Belarus. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I can invite Adalbert to provide you more details, but let me be very clear that we have emphasized that we will engage with all relevant partners in the region, be them countries of origin or countries of transit for migrants, because the intention was to establish contacts, operational work, and to exchange information about the most appropriate ways to stop the influx of people that are being trapped at the border there. But perhaps Adalbert has additional information to provide.
That's correct. These are only first visits in the Vice President's schedule regarding this situation. I can perhaps just recall what we have communicated, what in fact the President communicated in his statement that was published on earlier this week, where she said that the Vice President, in coordination with HRVP Borrell, will travel in the coming days to the main countries of origin and of transit to ensure that they act to prevent their own nationals from falling into the trap set by the Belarusian authorities. So there's going to be other countries, of course, that the Vice President will visit, and these are only the first ones.
More announcements are to be expected soon regarding the second and perhaps the third leg of this outreach trip. Please go ahead for a follow-up question.
Yes, well, thank you. But these two countries that was mentioned, Lebanon and UAE, are they being used as transit countries, or what is happening? Or people are coming from there also? Thank you.
Thank you, Nawab. I believe that after the visits, we'll be able to provide a good readout of what has been discussed there and what exactly the actions will be taken. Of course, these countries have been selected because there are things that these countries can usefully do in order to help address this unprecedented situation. And of course, we are very much hoping for a fruitful outcome of the discussions of the Vice President.
Thank you. At this stage, are there additional questions for Adalbert on this matter? So please only keep your hand up if you have questions for Adalbert. Is this a question for Adalbert on this matter? Yes, go ahead, please.
Is it okay? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Katalin Zoltagyi from Hungarian News TV. The European Union accuses President Lukashenko of organizing the transport of migrants to the eastern border of the EU in retaliation for Western sanctions against Minsk. Could this be a turning point in the Union's migration policy, recognizing that organized migration can be used as a political weapon at the EU borders? And my second question concerning Hungary, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, referring to the fact that Hungary has been protecting the EU's southern borders since 2015, asks Brussels to reimburse the costs of the Hungarian border protection measures. What is the response of the EU Commission for his letter, for his previous letter? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question. Indeed, we have been saying for a long time that we are facing here an extraordinary situation, but I will give the floor to Adalbert to elaborate.
Thank you very much, and köszönöm szépen. Of course, as Dana recalled, we are facing an unprecedented situation due to the unprecedented and aggressive actions of the Lukashenko regime. I think that is abundantly clear, and as also the President referred to in her State of the Union speech, we will be looking into new tools to address this instrumentalization of migrants, of people by the Lukashenko regime. Now, when it comes to the question of whether this is a turning point for migration policy, perhaps what I can recall is that we've been emphasizing numerous times that this is not fundamentally a migration issue, that this is a crisis created by the Lukashenko regime, where people are simply being instrumentalized. This is just a tool for the regime to put pressure on the European Union. When it comes to migration policy, if you allow me, I could say perhaps that the turning point hopefully will have been the presentation by the Commission of the new Pact on Migration and Asylum back in September 2020 a set of policy proposals that are meant to address in a comprehensive way all possible situations that member states can find themselves in when it comes to migration management. And I very much hope that the next turning point in migration policy will be when the new pact is entirely agreed and implemented. That is really what we remain focused on when it comes to migration policy. And we're working very closely with the European Parliament and the member states to this end. When it comes to your question about financing border infrastructure and border measures, of course, I'm not able to comment specifically on any exchange of letters. We always merely emphasize that we have received a specific letter and that we will reply in due course. What I would like to emphasize, however, is that, of course, the EU is supporting member states when it comes to border management and border infrastructure in a very substantial way. We, in the previous multi-annual financial framework, the allocation for border and visa projects in total for long-term projects has, as well as for emergency assistance, has totaled about 2.8 billion euro, and we've got a more detailed breakdown that we will be able to share with you very shortly. For Hungary, in the last multi-annual financial framework, so over the period 2014-2020, there's been an allocation of over 59 million euro for long-term programs, and in addition to that, there's been an allocation of over 21 million euro for emergency assistance. So the EU is present, the EU is very much supporting the member states, and we will continue to do so, since in the next long-term EU budget, the allocation for border management and visa policy is over 6.4, almost 6.4 billion euro. So this money will continue to flow.
Indeed, so as you see, a strong increase in the financial means available to support member states with border management in the current long-term EU budget, which is almost 3 times as big as it was previously. So we can safely say that we have a strong contribution towards shared border management support in the European Union. Are there any additional questions for Adalbert on those aspects? Giovanni, go ahead.
Yes, I have a specific question on the issue of pushbacks, because what's happening there, of course, it's criminal what Lukashenko is doing, but it's even more evident that what's happening there on the EU countryside is several cases of pushbacks. Just wanted to know, since I never hear anything, but maybe it's me who didn't hear it, so you can correct me, of course. I never hear anything from your side commenting on the issue of pushbacks. Am I right in remembering that the EU cannot, international law and also the EU do not accept the pushbacks in the migration crisis? Thank you.
Thank you very much for this question, Giovanni, which actually we have been touching upon this question over the past days, but Adalbert will be very happy to provide you an answer on that as well.
Very, very happy indeed, even though, of course, it's a very serious issue and a very complex situation which is currently faced. What I would really like to emphasize is that, of course, we are facing a situation there where people are being instrumentalized by the Lukashenko regime. We are in a situation where there are aggressive and illegal actions on the other side of the border. And the immediate priority is to manage the situation in the best possible way, in line with European values, in line with in line with fundamental rights, in line also with using the shared European resources that we are putting at the disposal of the member states. And we have expressed numerous times our preoccupation, our concerns about the safety of the people who are being used in this cynical way. And this is why also we are now taking the actions on the humanitarian front that Dana mentioned at the outset of this meeting. And we also remain in very, very close contact with the member states regarding the assistance that is being provided and the care that is being provided to the people at the border. As the President emphasized in her statement that I also mentioned, we are looking at humanitarian options. We are also exploring with UN agencies how we can make sure that people can safely return to their countries of origin. This is the immediate priority in terms of managing this very exceptional, very specific situation. Of course, this doesn't affect the long-term objectives that we have for our migration policy and that have been very clearly laid out in the new Pact on Migration and Asylum. That remains a key focus when it comes to developing the policy.
Thank you very much. Giovanni, go ahead for a follow-up.
Yes, sorry, Adalbert, but this was not the answer to my question. Because you are speaking about the preoccupation for the safety of people, looking at humanitarian ways to help people also to go back and so on. But the issue of pushbacks, I mean, my question was very clear. So is it acceptable, even in this exceptional situation, that the member states practices pushbacks? Because of course you said it's not a migration crisis, people are being instrumentalized. Shall I understand that in this particular case it is allowed for Poland or Lithuania to push people back?
So first of all, I would like to say that when it comes to the Polish border specifically, there is no Commission presence on the ground, so it is very difficult for us to pronounce ourselves specifically on what is happening at the border. When it comes to the situation in Latvia and Lithuania, we've been in very close dialogue with those member states to ensure that the situation is managed in a way that does respect fundamental rights of people, and we know that that these member states are acting in a way that is in line with European values and with access to fundamental rights. So we'll continue doing that to make sure that things are done in the best possible way in this exceptional situation. And as I said, we will continue developing our migration policy fully in line with the objectives of the new pact.
Thank you very much. Are there any additional questions for Adalbert on this situation? I see several hands up. So first of all, Mindaugas. Do we have Mindaugas on the line?
Yes, you have indeed. Hello, Mindaugas Laukagalis, Lithuanian National Radio and Television. I have a question about pushbacks too, because Commissioner Ylva Johansson said that the Commission will probably ask for Lithuania, Latvia and Poland to change some legal basis on migrant pushbacks. So could you provide us Commission's perspective on what raises your concern and what things the EU wants to change? Well, what does that mean? Is it a criticism for three countries? Will you ask for the countries to not do pushbacks anymore? So what is the reason behind this Ylva Johansson's things she said? Thank you.
I would want to emphasize, as Adalbert has said, that we are in constant dialogue and ready to support this country. So I would not advise the use of the word criticism, but go ahead, Adalbert.
Hello, Mindaugas, and it's good to see you again. Let me perhaps repeat very precisely what the Commissioner said in the Libe Committee in the European Parliament so that there is absolutely no misunderstanding. She was answering a question about the legislation or the legislative changes that have been recently put in place by a number of member states. And she said, when it comes to the legislation, I think there are differences between the Polish one, the Lithuanian one, and the Latvian one. We're in close contact and dialogue with the authorities and governments in the three countries, and in some cases, we are still assessing, but I think we will ask for the amendments in some of the legislation. Now, I do not want to jump ahead of the assessment that the Commissioner said is ongoing. Of course, the Commission continues to do its job as the guardian of the treaties. The Commission is assessing all the legislation that member states are putting in place in the domains covered by EU law, and of course, as part of that dialogue, we can also ask for amendments where we believe that there are issues to be addressed. So this is an assessment that is very much ongoing, a dialogue that is also ongoing. It is ongoing on the technical level. It is also ongoing on the political level. And as Dana mentioned, Commissioner Johansson spoke earlier this morning to Minister Bilotaite. So this is very much part and parcel of our normal work with the member states. And of course, as we continue emphasizing, there is no question about EU unity or support that we provide to those member states when it comes to managing this exceptional situation. And when it comes to EU unity faced with the aggressive actions by the Lukashenko regime.
Thank you very much. Are there any additional questions for Adalbert on this? Yes, I see that Heta has the hand up. So Heta is next.
Yes, thank you. I'm Heta Hassanen from the Finnish News Agency. My question is about the destinations of those people who are there at the Polish border. The German newspaper Welt has reported today about EU document that says that main destinations for those people are Germany and Finland. Can you maybe confirm that this kind of assessment has been made in Commission? And what can you tell us more about where those people who are trying to enter the EU, where are they trying to go? What is the Commission's idea? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heta. I am not able to comment on any operational assessments that we are making in this very complex situation, nor am I able to speculate about the objectives that people might have in mind, or indeed the objectives that they have been lured into pursuing through false promises of the Lukashenko regime. As I said, our focus remains on, first of all, managing this crisis of relations with a third country in a way that addresses the problems at the source. So through all these actions that we've discussed, also remain concerned for the safety of these people and looking into humanitarian options, as well as the issue of safe return to their countries of origin. That's as far as I can go on this issue.
What is very clear is that those people have been promised and they were deceived, something which they cannot have. This is how they have been lured at that border. Jean is the next, sorry. Can we have Jean on the line?
Bonjour, vous m'entendez?
Oui, nous t'entendons.
Moi, je vous entends très mal, par contre, j'espère que ça ira. Question à propos du voyage de M. Michel, qui a rencontré le Premier ministre polonais hier. Il semble qu'il ait répondu que, selon lui, et selon un avis légal du service juridique du Conseil, la Commission pouvait participer à la création de murs, de protection, de haies, de barbelés aux frontières polonaises notamment. Est-ce que cet avis légal est partagé par la Commission? Est-ce que la Commission prépare les initiatives concrètes? La formule est de M. Michel, qui lui a été demandée par le Conseil européen. Et une sous-question à propos de la situation de ces migrants. Est-ce que, pour l'instant, des fonctionnaires de la Commission, des membres de la Commission, ont accès à la zone concernée qui est interdite par la Pologne aux ONG, aux humanitaires et aux journalistes? Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup Jean-Pierre. Toute une série des questions. Sur la première, Adalbert a expliqué en détail l'étendue de nos financements et de notre soutien pour la gestion des frontières extérieures, de notre soutien par rapport aux États membres, qui est très concret en matière d'équipement et beaucoup de choses concrètes que nous finançons. Il va maintenant répondre sur la question plus spécifique si les barbelés peuvent être financés.
Tout à fait. Je me permettrai de donner peut-être un rappel de tout le contexte de ce débat. C'est une position de longue date de la Commission européenne que des barbelés ou des murs ne sont pas financés par le budget européen. C'est la responsabilité des États membres d'effectuer des contrôles aux frontières, et c'est aussi leur rôle de déterminer comment ceci va être fait. Et comme nous avons souligné à plusieurs reprises, le droit européen en tant que tel n'exclut pas l'utilisation des barrières pour des objectifs de contrôle aux frontières. Ceci n'est pas quelque chose qui est contesté, et en fait, dans plusieurs États membres, ceci a été fait avec des financements nationaux. La Commission a toujours encouragé les États membres à utiliser des mesures de contrôle aux frontières qui soient à la fois efficaces et proportionnées, sur la base d'une analyse de risque, sur la base de la coopération opérationnelle au niveau européen, sur la base d'échange des informations et entièrement en ligne avec les droits fondamentaux. Dans ce contexte, les fonds européens sont utilisés, comme Dana l'a expliqué, à une très grande échelle pour renforcer les capacités des États membres de contrôle aux frontières d'un large éventail de manières, avec des cofinancements d'infrastructures, des équipements, de systèmes de contrôle de surveillance, soutien opérationnel, etc., tout ce qui est nécessaire aux frontières externes. Et donc, comme je l'ai aussi souligné, dans le cadre financier pluriannuel actuel, 6,4 milliards d'euros seront spécifiquement alloués aux États membres à cet effet. Nous allons d'ailleurs publier rapidement un document plus détaillé, une fiche qui vous expliquera peut-être un peu plus en détail quels sont le genre de financement que nous fournissons aux États membres et combien cela représente pour chaque État membre.
Merci beaucoup. Donc, ce n'est pas une position juridique, si tu veux, mais c'est notre position de longue date qui était agréée avec le Parlement européen que le financement du budget européen ne va pas soutenir le barbelé. Sur la deuxième question.
Et sur ta deuxième question concernant l'accès des collègues de la Commission à la frontière polonaise, je n'ai rien de nouveau à annoncer. Notre dialogue avec les autorités polonaises continue à ce sujet. Nous n'avons toujours pas la confirmation que des collègues de la Commission seraient autorisés à se rendre à la frontière. Évidemment, nous continuons à souligner l'importance pour nous d'une telle visite.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions pour Adalbert à ce sujet? Je pense que Georges a une question. Ah, pardon. D'abord, Jean-Pierre a une question de suivi. Vas-y, Jean-Pierre.
Non, désolé, Adalbert a répondu en dernière minute à ma question, donc tout est en ordre pour moi. Merci.
Dans ces cas, je donnerai la parole à Angela.
Yes, can you hear me? Yes.
We can.
Okay, thanks, Dana. Just to be clear about the eventual financing by the EU of barbed wires or walls or whatever at the border. I was listening to Adalbert before, but I wanted to ask just to be clear. So after what Michel said yesterday, he said that it is legally possible to use European funds for these purposes. And ahead of the Foreign Ministers' Council next Monday, where this issue will be discussed, you foresee that there won't be any change in the Commission's position, which has been agreed, as you said, with the European Parliament? Thanks.
Very much, Angela. So Adalbert expressed clearly, I believe, our position regarding the funding of fences and barbed wire at the border. And he also clearly explained that this is not a legal impediment, but this has been our long-standing position as agreed with the European Parliament. This matter has also been discussed at the latest European Council meeting, which took place on the 22nd of October. Should this issue be discussed again at the European Council, of course we will be ready to engage in that discussion, as we always engaged in the discussions which take place in that institution within the framework of the European Council with heads of states and government. But there is nothing more that we can say at this stage regarding our position, nor whether the issue is going to be discussed in other fora of which we are members, because it is not for us to set the agenda of those fora. And I think we can leave it at that regarding the future. I think that Patricia has a question as well. Patricia, go ahead.
With Europol anti-migrant smuggling, and if there will be on the ground Will they have access to the borders? What is the deal here? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patricia. I'm not sure how many details Adalbert has at this early stage. We just received confirmation that the deployment will take place, but the operational details, Adalbert?
That's correct. We will still need to confirm the operational details of this particular deployment with Europol.
Thank you. David, your turn.
Thank you, Dana. It's on this issue, but on what Lukashenko said this morning on gas. I don't know if I can ask you now or wait.
I would invite you to wait a few minutes because I would like to invite Nabila to take that question. It's not specifically for Adalbert, and since we don't have a third podium today, I prefer to keep Adalbert here to exhaust all the questions that may be asked to him. I see 2 more hands up, and after that I will get back to you. So George, is your question for Adalbert? But sorry, first Patricia had a follow-up question, I understand. Patricia.
Thank you. It was
Patricia.
No, it's okay. I'm okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So then George.
Good.
Just I'm going to move the discussion away for a second from Poland. Yesterday, the Cypriot government announced that it will ask for the activation of Article 78, Paragraph 3 of the Treaty of the Functioning of the EU. What I understand is that this would be a temporary waiving of the responsibility of the country to process asylum applications, and that so far has only been brought up by Greece and Italy in 2015 and by Greece last year. The question really is, have you received this request? And secondly, is there anything that this you can say about what this request would entail? Thank you.
Adalbert?
Thank you very much. I am not aware of a specific request, so I would need to check and see whether one has reached us and whether we can confirm that. And when it comes to any possible use of Article 73, of course, as you will know from reading the treaty, the procedure would start with a Commission proposal, and we always communicate about any Commission proposals in a very transparent way. So you will certainly hear if a Commission proposal on this is made.
Thank you very much. George, do you have a follow-up question because your hand is still up? No, no longer up. So thank you very much, Adalbert. And I will now invite Nabila to join me to answer David's question. But first, David, your question.
Thank you, Dana. Nabila, je voulais te demander un commentaire à ce que M. Loukachenko a dit ce matin. En particulier, we are eating Europe. They are still threatening us that they will close the border. And if we shut off natural gas there, I would recommend that the Polish leadership, Lithuanians and other headless people think before speaking. Donc, dans la substance, la menace de couper le gaz qui arrive via la Biélorussie.
Merci David pour ta question. Écoute, le gaz est une ressource de première nécessité et ne doit pas être utilisé comme une arme géopolitique, comme les êtres humains non plus ne doivent pas être utilisés comme une arme géopolitique. Il faut mettre les faits bien au clair et il faut clarifier la situation. Il y a une raison très claire pour laquelle l'Union européenne a mis en place 4 séries de sanctions contre le régime de Loukachenko au cours de l'année, à savoir les élections présidentielles biélorusses falsifiées d'août 2020 et la répression qui a suivi contre le peuple biélorusse par les autorités. Aujourd'hui, les discussions en cours sont des discussions qui sont aussi basées sur les nouvelles menaces provenant du régime de Loukachenko. C'est lui qui a fait en sorte de défier toutes les normes existantes. C'est lui qui a fait en sorte d'utiliser des êtres humains, de les instrumentaliser, de les mettre dans des situations inhumaines aujourd'hui. Et c'est les raisons pour lesquelles l'Union européenne prend des actions et fait en sorte qu'elle ne pourra jamais accepter ce genre de situation.
Merci beaucoup Nabila et permets-moi de rappeler David ce que la présidente von der Leyen a dit hier après sa réunion avec le président Biden à la Maison-Blanche où ils ont évoqué la question de la situation à la frontière entre la Biélorussie et les frontières extérieures de l'Union européenne, de la Pologne, Lituanie et Lettonie. La présidente a dit clairement que la situation qui a été créée, ce n'est pas une situation ce n'est pas une question bilatérale entre la Pologne, Lituanie, Lettonie et la Biélorussie, mais c'est une question pour l'Union européenne entière. C'est un essai de la part du régime autoritaire biélorusse de déstabiliser ses voisins démocratiques. C'est des méthodes qui nous sont connues, que nous avons vues aussi lors des élections précédentes. Il y a eu des essais d'influencer des élections. On a vu des attaques des attaques cyber-informatiques, on dit ?
Oui, cyber.
Excusez-moi, je traduis live de l'anglais. Et nous voyons aussi le volume des informations qui circulent. Donc maintenant, nous avons cette attaque hybride qui instrumentalise les migrants et il y a donc une tentation à ajouter d'autres instruments de pression. Mais je te rappelle la conclusion de la présidente lors de ces points de presse après la réunion avec les présidents des États-Unis. Elle a clairement dit que nous allons protéger nos démocraties de ces jeux cyniques des pouvoirs géopolitiques qui sont à l'œuvre à notre frontière. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions à ce sujet ? David, tu as une question de suivi.
Oui, merci, parce que je comprends très bien la position que vous exprimez, mais là, en plus de l'utilisation des migrants comme arme géopolitique, etc., là, il y a un problème, disons, encore plus grand, dans le sens que le gaz sert à chauffer les maisons des Européens. Et donc voilà, et donc est-ce que vous craignez en quelque sorte une aggravation de la situation par rapport au prix de gaz et tout ça? Deuxième élément, si je peux, Dana, pour toi, parce que hier tu nous as expliqué que la présidente a, dans une interview à une chaîne américaine, elle a dit que M. Poutine devrait exercer son influence envers Loukachenko. Hier, le Kremlin a fait savoir la réponse que M. Poutine a donnée à la même requête de la chancelière Merkel en disant l'Union européenne doit parler directement avec la Biélorussie. Donc, est-ce que vous allez parler directement avec la Biélorussie ?
Merci beaucoup, David. Sur la première question sur les gaz, évidemment, donc ce sera un nouveau outil dans l'attaque hybride, si jamais ça s'ajoutait à la situation et à l'attaque qui est déployée par les régimes biélorusses. Nous avons vu des menaces. Ce que nous disons clairement est que nous n'allons pas nous laisser intimider. Ça, c'est la seule chose que je peux te dire sur les choses que nous avons vues hier ou aujourd'hui concernant la position ou une possible action de la part du gouvernement du régime biélorusse à l'encontre de l'approvisionnement en gaz des pays de l'Union européenne. Sur la deuxième question, David, je ne peux que répéter ce que la présidente a dit. Ce sera de manière moins élégante, évidemment, que nous pensons que le président russe peut influencer les régimes biélorusses et que nous l'invitons à essayer de convaincre les régimes biélorusses de stopper cette attaque hybride qui n'est dans l'intérêt des personnes. Nous avons aussi évoqué par le biais de Peter les jours antérieurs, quelle est l'étendue des contacts que nous avons avec les régimes à des différents niveaux. Et je peux bien inviter Nabila à rappeler cela.
Oui, en effet, David, Peter, je pense, l'a dit lui-même sur ce podium, et d'ailleurs, le haut représentant l'a dit hier au Parlement, que oui, nous avons démarché aussi les autorités de Minsk à travers notre mission diplomatique, à travers leur mission diplomatique à Bruxelles. Mais il a répété encore une fois et notre délégation à Minsk aussi est en train ou is reaching out les autorités bélarusses. Ceci dit, on est en train de faire ce qu'on peut pour discuter avec eux, sachant tout de même qu'ils savent très bien ce qu'ils sont en train de faire. Ils savent très bien qu'ils sont en train d'utiliser les migrants en tant qu'instrument, et ils sont en train de faire de la désinformation, des campagnes de désinformation, et ils sont en train de mettre de la pression sur les frontières.
Au-delà de ça, bien évidemment, l'instrument que nous allons utiliser, que nous utilisons déjà et dont nous allons étendre l'utilisation, c'est les sanctions. Il est clair pour nous que c'est la réponse qui devrait parler en termes très forts et très clairs au régime biélorusse. La présidente a mentionné à des maintes reprises dernièrement dans ses prises de position le fait que nous allons pousser et proposer pour l'étendue des sanctions existantes. Et la présidente a évoqué également que nous allons explorer les voies juridiques par lesquelles nous allons pouvoir introduire des sanctions, y compris du blacklisting à l'encontre des lignes aériennes, des compagnies aériennes qui amènent des migrants en Biélorussie pour être poussés à la frontière avec la Pologne, et donc qui participent au jeu du trafic des migrants orchestré par les régimes biélorusses. C'est, comme tu as pu voir peut-être lors du point de presse de hier soir, c'était aussi un sujet qui a été évoqué à la Maison-Blanche. Et clairement, la conclusion est que nous allons aligner et coordonner nos actions pratiques avec les États-Unis au sujet des moyens qui sont utilisés pour amener des migrants ici. Donc, ça concerne la coopération avec les pays d'origine, mais aussi l'action à l'encontre des compagnies aériennes en question. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions à ce sujet, donc les volets externes de la situation que nous avons à la frontière? Si vous avez encore des questions, levez votre main. Nabila est encore ici. Ce n'est pas le cas, donc merci Nabila, et je vais élargir maintenant le champ à d'autres questions qui pourraient vous intéresser aujourd'hui. So, do you have any other questions for us today? I do not see any, but you have so many other press events today. We offered you a full menu with the technical briefing on UK, with the technical briefing on the forecast, which is coming right now. So thank you very much for your attention, and we will see you tomorrow.